Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe so that you don't ever miss an upload. And if you're an OG, oldie but a goodie, then thank you so much for coming back to another video. Today I'm sitting down to film my 2-year business anniversary recap Q&A and kind of just tell you guys all about the journey from 2 years in business and the ups and downs and all kind of questions. So I did ask you guys on Instagram to submit some questions, and there's a whole bunch of really great questions in here. So this may be kind of a long video. I hope that this is informative for anybody that is thinking about opening a business or is currently in business. Basically just give you guys some insight on all the things that have happened these past 2 years. So again, if this is your first time here, I am a nurse practitioner. I own a medical spa in South Carolina. My main service is IV hydration, but I do a little bit of skincare and some other things that I plan on bringing in the future. But yeah, mainly wellness and vitamin therapy is like the thing that I do. So I opened my business in 2020, yes, in the pandemic. And yeah, I've been in business for 2 years now, going well. So I want to tell you guys all about it. Okay, so the first question that actually came through, and there's a lot of the same type of question, is basically expansion. What plans do I have on expanding? Do I plan on expanding? Like literally everybody was just asking like, what's my plans if I want to expand? So if you follow me on Instagram, you've already heard the news, but I did get my keys to a brand new storefront last week. And yes, Revitalux is indeed expanding. So this kind of came out of nowhere. Like I did not have any plans to move this early in the business game. Like it's basically been 2 years. To me, that's still pretty fresh, pretty early in the game. But everything kind of aligned and it just happened, and everything inside me was just telling me like, this is the time, like you need to do this. And I don't want to go so in depth on like what made me do it, how I found my location, like just that whole process, because that's going to be a separate video. And yeah, just the whole thing on how I found the building and what, you know, the remodeling, the construction, like just the whole thing is going to be separate. I don't want to take up this whole video talking about that, but everything happened so fast, you guys. Like I pretty much made the decision, I want to say in like, it had to have been June, like maybe end of May, probably June. And I was like, okay, I think I want to do it. Let me start looking. And I want to say that I started looking, yeah, it had to have been like mid-June, because it was around the time like when I was going to be teaching my IV hydration class, which was early July. So yeah, I started looking, I got a realtor, looked at a few buildings. The one that I actually went with was the first building that I ever looked at. When I first went to see it, I wasn't like for sure about it. I'm like, okay, cool, I see it has potential. And then I looked at a few more, and then I went back and I pretty much fell in love with the first one. I'll go into the whole process in the other video, but when you're looking at commercial buildings, a lot of times like there is work and remodeling to be done. Like it's very hard to find a place that's like perfect for you already. Like for me, I wanted to have like a medical build out, meaning that it had like separate rooms, like exam rooms, a waiting area, a front desk area. And this place was kind of set up medical, but not all the way. So I'm still having to do some things to do it, like, you know, to have it the way that I want it. I'm like knocking walls down and just kind of changing the layout of the building so that we can actually make it into a medical practice. Yeah, so to everybody that was asking about me expanding and what were my plans, if I'm gonna move, get a new room, that is the big news. So as of mid-September, I'll be in the new place. There's still a lot of work and things to be done. The next step is to change the floor, so that's what's coming up next. And yeah, I'll just show you guys in the vlogs and the Instagram reels and all that stuff about the process. But yes, 2-year anniversary, I decided to expand. Okay, next one says top tips for having a successful business. So I would say my number one tip, and something that you have to do from the beginning, is to set up your business properly and legally. So again, you guys have probably heard me say this a million times if you're an OG and you follow me, but having an attorney is just not an option not to have one. You absolutely need to have somebody that understands legal law in your state, medical, business law, like all that kind of stuff. You just want your business set up properly from the start. Like you don't want to set up a business and then, you know, months later or a year later come back and be like, oh my gosh, like my paperwork is wrong. Oh my gosh, my business is under an LLC and it should be under a corporation. Like you don't want all that stuff at the later in line. So you just want to do it right from the first time. You want to set up your financial stuff correctly. Like, you don't want to be, you know, commingling funds. Like, just set your stuff up properly. That's going to be my biggest tip. Paperwork, like everything, just call everybody. Just make sure you have everything that you need for your state and your city and your county just squared away. The next tip that I would say to have a successful business is networking. You have to network, you guys. I'm definitely like more of that introverted, shy girl. I don't like events all that much. I don't like socializing all that much. But girl, as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, you have to get out there. Like, people need to know who you are. They need to know, like, they want to know, like, who's the business owner? What's her story? How did she start this? Like, you know, is she a minority? Is this a female-owned business, a minority-owned business? Like, all these things are going to elevate your business. So you absolutely have to network. You have to get out there, especially with this kind of business, because it's a local thing, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're popping on social media and you have all these followers. Like, that, it doesn't necessarily translate into paying clients. So you have to get out there in your local area. Like, people need to know about your business, about the name, about the owner, about your services. Girl, you have to get out there and talk. So yeah, we can definitely say, like, maybe that was another thing that I had to overcome, because like I said, I'm more of that shy, introverted person. Like, I don't like to necessarily be out there. I don't like talking about myself. Like, I don't necessarily want to be the one in the room, like, saying, yeah, I own this, and I'm the owner of Revitalize, and like this, you know, like, I'm just quiet. Like, if you know me, you know me. If you don't, then you just don't know me. But yeah, I've had to learn that you have to get over that. And you have to get out there, go to events, go to galas and parties, whatever's going on in your city, you have to be there. Okay, good question. So this one says, what would you do differently if you were to open a business with the info that I have now? So one thing that I would do differently is to not hire staff right away. And when I say staff, I mean just kind of like extra people, right? So like for me, right at the beginning, I hired an RN, which I feel like for me, I didn't really need it, because as a nurse practitioner, like, really I could have done everything from start to finish on my own. So I could have done my own assessment, like the service, check the person in, like actually do the IV infusion, actually remove the IV. Like, it's all within my scope of practice to do all of that. So when I say don't hire staff too early, I just mean like people that, like, obviously if you need a certain person, like if you're not a nurse, you're gonna have to hire a nurse, right? Because you can't do an IV if you're not a nurse. If you're not a nurse practitioner, you're gonna have to have a nurse practitioner on your team to do the assessment. So I would say just don't hire people that you don't need. Like, if it's something that you can do, learn how to run your entire business on your own, because it's very important in the beginning to know like how to do everything. Because yeah, like down the line, if somebody's like has to call out or, you know, whatever it may be, like you can go in and literally run your whole business on your own. And it's important to know the ins and out of your own business. So I would say that's something that I would have done differently, because like I said, I didn't really need it. I was wasting money, like just literally the first like month or two of having my brick and mortar open, like those first 2 months, every money that I was making was going to like my rent and my payroll. Like, I wasn't really keeping any of the money, because again, I was just kind of wasting money, like paying my nurse, and it was just kind of messy. So don't jump into like trying to have a team right away. Next question says, what would you recommend a person contemplating opening an IV hydration practice? I would definitely recommend to take a class wherever, you know, research who's teaching classes. You guys know that I'm teaching classes, so I do have classes open. My New York class is already sold out, but I still have seats for Miami. But there's other people teaching, so just, you know, but with that being said, just kind of research the person, like be sure they have a business and, you know, they have a successful business, because that's important. If you're going to go out and teach, like you just want to have a business, because I've seen people trying to teach IV hydration classes that don't even have the business, and girl, I just be minding my business over here. But yes, my biggest recommendation would be to take a class, because you're going to learn everything, all the basic startup. Like, even if you're not sure if you want to do it, I would say you want to sit in a class, because it's going to give you all the information, and then, you know, you can decipher and figure out like if this is something for you. And depending on how you take the class, like for example, my class is very much like a business startup class. So even with the knowledge that you gain in that class, like you can literally start another business. It doesn't have to be an IV hydration business. Like you get a lot of the basic structure for a healthcare business, mindset, marketing, like just everything. So yeah, that would be my tip, girl. You need to get into a class so that you can get a better understanding of the business, and so that it's not all over the place just trying to piece things together for the business. Okay, next question. Can your business be open and make money if you are not there? Absolutely. That's where your staff comes into play. So if you're not there, you have like a nurse doing the service for you, or whoever you want to have on your team. But definitely you don't have to be in there doing the service all the time. Oh, this is good. What was your biggest source of fear and anxiety when first starting your business? To me, it was making a mistake, a big mistake, like a medical mistake, or not having things set up properly to where it's like a huge mistake type of thing. Because this is a healthcare business, okay? And this is why it's so important, like I said, to take a class, to have an attorney, to just have things set up properly. Because a healthcare business and like a t-shirt business are two completely different things. Like you can maybe get away with making a mistake in a t-shirt business, a simple mistake, whereas if you're in a healthcare business and you miss out on like that one paperwork you had to submit to your board, and all of a sudden you're practicing outside of your scope of practice because the board didn't know that you're in this location. Even something as simple as like not reporting your address, and the board has a different address on file. If they want to pull up to that address and you're not there, they're going to be like, so you've been practicing at this address, we had no idea about it. That's a violation. It was very serious, and in the beginning it was definitely a big source of fear and anxiety. I felt like I was just walking on eggshells the whole time, and I mean the anxiety was real, you guys. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm, like now it's like I still have, I feel like you're always going to have that fear and anxiety because it's huge. It's like your own business. But now it's like, okay, it's like in the back of my head, like I'm always auditing my paperwork and auditing my business and talking to my attorneys and being sure I have my stuff in order. But in the beginning, it was like, girl, I almost want to say it was like crippling anxiety. Like, very much so felt like I was just walking on eggshells and looking over my shoulder and just being sure I had it all right. And you can only imagine, like, it's your first time having this type of thing. So to me, that was my biggest fear. I know a lot of people's fear is like failing or not getting clients, but to me, like, that wasn't really a fear I had in the back of my head. Like, I always knew the start of a business is slow. Like, you can't expect, I mean, that's just how it is. Like, you're starting from the grounds up, so it's expected that things are slow and you don't have a lot of clientele. So yeah, like not having clients and not being successful wasn't like a true fear to me. I think for me it was mainly just that big, like making a mistake type of fear. Okay, next question. How do you pick the cities to hold your conferences and classes? So I always try to pick like just a major city with an accessible airport, just somewhere where a lot of different states can kind of like, it's just accessible, and also like where the demand is. So for this year, I knew for sure New York was on the list. Like New York has been on my list since I first even started thinking about IB classes. So I knew for sure I was going to do New York. And then I've just been doing surveys and just seeing like what comments like people are asking. Yeah, just like a major city. So for next year, it's definitely going to be like major cities to where, it has like a big airport and people could just travel into, and it's accessible. That's pretty much how I pick. Okay, good question. So have your prices increased? If not, do you plan on increasing as your business grows? So I haven't really increased my prices all that much, just on a few things. Like I know the immunity drip did go up because I changed the formula. So instead of putting one ingredient, there's like a whole mineral blend. So I did change the price on that. And then like the fluid bag add-on, I changed that because it's like a fluid shortage. That's really it. I mean, shots and all my other drips have kind of stayed the same. And she said, if I plan on increasing as the business grows, I'm sure eventually, I'll make like a little adjustments. But I think as of now, like the net profit that I'm making out of my current pricing is just working. So, I don't want to take advantage of the whole like recession and inflation thing, because I've seen a lot of businesses, a lot of people just increasing prices and just taking advantage of that. So it's just not time right now. Like I said, right now, the profits are good, the margins, profit and loss, everything is pretty good. How did you learn about LLC versus professional corporation, etc.? I didn't learn much about it, honestly. That's where your attorney comes in. They're just gonna set that up for you. It's just gonna depend on your state, your credentials, the healthcare law in your state, If you're a nurse practitioner or RN, that's gonna determine what business structure your practice goes into. So yeah, I don't know much about that. I'm not a lawyer, so I just left that up to my lawyer. There's a lot of people just saying like, thank you for being a huge inspiration and all of that. So I love seeing those things. I just love that. I love that I can be an inspiration to others to actually take the leap and open the business, because it's just amazing. Okay, someone says, how hard was starting your business? I'm currently opening mine, and whew. So it's hard, you guys. It's not no walk in the park, slap paperwork together, buy you some fluids, buy you some syringes, buy you some B12, and boom, you have an IV hydration practice. Like, it's not that easy. But it is doable. And going back to the classes, like once you take a class and they put it together and they give you like, okay, step 1, you do this, step 2, you do this, step 3, you realize like, okay, it's work. I'm not gonna say like you're just gonna go home and, like I said, slap it together, design you a logo, make you a website, and you're good to go. Like, it's gonna take work and effort and a lot of confusion, which is very normal, but it's very doable. So how hard is it? I mean, I would say it's challenging. It's challenging, it takes work, it takes time, but it is definitely doable. Somebody asked, would you change anything about your journey? And I would have to say no. I think everything definitely happened for a reason. You know, I started concierge and realized that I didn't really like it. So I did, if you've been following me, you kind of know that part of my business journey. I did 2 months of concierge, meaning I was like going into people's homes and providing the services. And yeah, in 2 months, I kind of realized like, I think I want a location. And I did just that. I wasn't fearful. I wasn't scared. I was like, this is what I want. And I looked for my location and have not looked back since. So yeah, I don't think that I would change anything from my journey or about my journey. I think everything just had to happen the way that it had to happen, because I've learned, it has made me stronger. It's made me a more well-rounded business owner, and yeah, no, I wouldn't change anything. Next question. This is something that a lot of people always want to know, and it's, do you make more money than you would working in a clinic or a hospital? Y'all love when I do math on here, so I'm not about to pull the calculator out, but absolutely, you make exponentially more money than you would working in a clinic or a hospital. So when you think about it, a clinic or a hospital job is very much hourly set, unless you're on salary as a nurse practitioner. But you know, for the most part, it's kind of like a set rate, a set hourly or a set salary. As a business owner, it's like basically unlimited, okay? And with the way that the pricing for these services are, you definitely make more money, okay? So yeah, that's all I have to say on that. It is very much like a huge difference. So, and even in the beginning, a lot of people think like it takes so long to get to that point where you're like actually seeing money and seeing revenue and seeing like a big profit, but it doesn't take that long. And in my class, I personally teach a strategy on how to make like over $1,000 in your grand opening. And I put it very low, like 1,000 is kind of low, but you should be making like a couple $1,000s at your grand opening just to make back your investment of like taking a class and, you know, paying a coach, like, you know, some of your investment to actually open a business. You should make that back at your grand opening at the bare minimum. So yeah, the money comes in, okay, this is a very profitable, lucrative, whatever you want to call it. There's definitely lots of money involved with this type of business. Okay, so another question I've been seeing a lot is, how did you build up your clientele? So very good question, and this is actually like the hardest part of business, I would say, for any kind of business, right? Because you could have like an amazing product to sell and like, you know, everything about it is amazing, but like if you don't have the clients to sell it to, is difficult. So marketing is huge. Oh my gosh, it is like such a beast, okay? Marketing is huge. So how did I personally build up the clientele? Was all kind of different like marketing strategies. So you want to try a lot of different things, because it's not like marketing in business is not a one size fits all. Like one business may be doing this and it's going amazing for them, and you may try the same exact thing and get like 0 clients and crickets from that strategy. So it's not a one size fits all. So for me personally, Google was really good. So internet searches was very good, and that's probably because of the city that I'm in. Like, you know, this is not a huge city to where it's like somebody types in IV hydration, a whole bunch of places are going to show up, and my clinic is going to be maybe not even seen in the searches. So so that has helped me to be in like an area where it's up and coming, and you know, people are very wellness oriented here, I would say. So it's a service that definitely sells over here. So Google, internet, word of mouth is like the biggest thing, okay? I've said this time and time again, but customer service is what's gonna keep your clients, number one, coming back, and number two, telling other people about it. Because they're gonna love the experience and everything and how you made them feel and the whole thing, and they're gonna go and tell their mom, their sister, like, girl, I got this drip and I'm feeling so good, and the owner is so nice and she explained everything to me, and I recommend this place, go try it out because you've been kind of low in energy. Like, everybody's low in energy, guys. So we live in such a busy life, you know, we're in a very busy lifestyle. So the service sells itself. I always tell people that, like, you know, the benefits are there, people feel it, and the service sells itself. So that's the one thing. Number two is just really getting your name out there. Like I said, going back to that first thing that I mentioned about networking and putting your face out there, putting your business name out there. Like, people need to know who you are to know where to go. This is cute. How does it feel to pay yourself? Congratulations on 2 years. Thank you. It feels good. I mean, it's something that I'm always so grateful for. Like, one of my gratitude prayers is always that. It's always the fact that I'm just grateful that I could just wake up and be in control of my life when it comes to time, money, my schedule. Yeah, like, truly just being in control of everything. So I'm always very grateful for that. And if I would have to say, how does it feel? I would say it just feels like an accomplishment, because it's not easy. Like, it's not, you know, when you really think about it, it's like you're really making money, like, from thin air. Like, there's no clock in, clock out, like, the set hourly. Like, it's just, you always have to be moving your own money. So it's a huge accomplishment, I would say, for sure. So yeah, that's how it feels. Was the process worth the outcome? Absolutely. I'm so glad that I took that leap of faith, because I can't imagine, like, where my life would be if I hadn't taken this leap. Like, who knows? I'd probably be working a job, like a nurse practitioner job, probably a little unhappy for the most part, because I didn't like much of anything in my clinical rotations. Like, I couldn't really see myself in that 9-to-5 clinic life, seeing patients, prescribing stuff. Like, I just didn't see myself in that role, and just being stuck in an office all day, like, it's just so different. Like, for me, I just know that that's not how I want my day-to-day to look. Like, I love how my life looks right now, where it's like I go to the spa, have time to be at home filming and doing coaching calls, and I'm traveling around everywhere to teach other nurses. Like, that's just the dream. Like, I literally dreamed about a life like this. So absolutely, the process was worth the outcome. I'm so glad that I just wasn't fearful. I'm glad that I didn't give up, because I was this close to giving up. I think I talked a little bit about, like, my journey and kind of that, somewhat of, like, the hardships that happened in 2020 and having to close the business, and then not close, but, well, yeah, close just for a little while, and then, like, reopen. But during that 2 months that I was closed, like, I was considering closing permanently. Like, I really was like, okay, maybe this business is not for me. And I was so close to closing, and, like, just thinking back at, like, that time, and I'm just so glad that I just didn't give up, and I just kept trying and just pushed through to where I'm at the point now. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah. So there's a bit of the same question, and it just says, how did you get started in the hydration business? So the first thing that I did was take a class. So that's how I got started. I was connected with a lot of resources in that class. I met my attorney in that class, which is the same resource that I give out in my class. Like, I give you guys that attorney resource and pretty much everything. So I got a lot of stuff there, marketing, like, you know, just kind of everything. Like I said, the step-by-step on how to do it. And it just introduced me into this industry and how to run it. So that's how I got started. I took a class, and I started meeting other people that were doing it, and I just went with it. Just another question about how long did it take you to build Revitalux from the ground up and gain clientele. So I don't know if I gave, like, a time frame in that last question, but I would say it took a good, like, 8 months for me to, like, be consistent, like, to have a flow of clients and to see the revenue that I wanted to see consistently. Because, like I said, this is business. Like, it's very up and down. You may have a good month, you may have, like, not a lot of clients 1 month, but you always have like an average. So I would say it took me like 8 months to kind of sit in that average line of the income goal that I wanted to make. Yeah, kind of seeing like that consistency with like people coming back, and I started to get like my members coming in every month and my people coming in on the shop packages, and it kind of started to get more consistent. So I would say a good 8 months, you guys. It is not an overnight process. For some people, it may be quicker. You may hear people say like, yeah, I opened and in 2 months I made 6 figures. Okay, clap, clap. That's amazing, and I'm very proud of those people, but it doesn't always work out that way, okay? Definitely takes time. I'm not going to sit here and say like, yes, in 3 months I was like, killing it. Like, it takes time to build consistency, and that's just with everything in life, okay? Nothing happens overnight. You may have like a hit, right? You may have like a good month where it just hit, but did it stick, right? You want it to stick. You don't want to have just that one hit and you had a great event and you made 5 figures in your event, and then next month is crickets, right? Business does not work that way, so it just takes time. So be patient and push through and don't give up. There's a few questions on how did I find a lawyer, what kind of lawyer do you need. So again, going back to what I did to get started, I met my lawyer at the IV Hydration business class that I took. So that's how I found my lawyer. And what kind of lawyer do you need? You want a healthcare business attorney, okay? Not just business. You don't want a family lawyer. You don't want, you want a healthcare business attorney. Somebody that knows the ins and outs of healthcare law, healthcare structure, just all of that. Do you feel like you have more freedom from cancel culture when you work for yourself? What? Wait, what is cancel culture? Hold on. Do you feel like you have more freedom from cancel culture? I'm not sure, like, what that, because isn't cancel culture like when you get canceled? But what does that have to do with work? When you work for yourself, do you feel like you have more? I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. Okay, so there's a few questions about this. I know I've answered this before, but how did I get funding to start my business? I self-funded, so I had a good little savings stashed away, and that's what I used to kind of set up my business. If you do take my class, we go into like the breakdown on like costs, because I see a lot of questions about like how much does it cost, like how much do you need. You got to take the class for all the financial deets, but yeah, I had a good little savings stashed away, and that's how I funded. So if you can save and wait and just have like a little cushion, that would be much better than taking out like a business loan, because I feel like that's just risky. Taking out a business loan for a brand new business, like that's, I don't know if I want to get into all that, but yeah, I mean, and keep your job. Don't go and quit your job like as you're starting a business. Like, I still had my other job, which was YouTube and social media. Like, that was like my main income. Well, it's at the time, like, that was kind of funding Revitalux at the beginning, and my online store, my coaching, like just all the other stuff I had going on is what was kind of funding my business. So pretty much self-funded. So if you can save, and yeah, that's going to be the best route. Have you made a return on your investments, and what were your goals when you started? So yes, I have made a return on my investments for sure already. Well, I actually hit that like the first year. I don't know exactly when. I would say within the first like 6 months, I definitely made my investment back. Pretty much meaning like what I paid my attorney, my initial like malpractice, like just everything, the cost that I had to like, furnish my suite. So I would say like within the first 6 months, I made all that back. And then what were your goals when you got started? My goals was really just to stay afloat. Like my goals, I didn't really set like income goals for myself in the beginning. Even to this day, I kind of just go with the flow and just, like my relationship with money is different now. Like I definitely see money as energy. So I always just put myself in the position to receive. Like I'm not, oh, this is what I have to make. Like I'm not like that anymore. Like I think I stopped setting income goals since like, I want to say 2019. Like 2019, I would definitely write out like January, okay, this is how much I want to make on YouTube. This is how much I want to make from my online store. Like I was like setting, okay, sorry guys, I had to take a little break. I was like, my throat was so dry. But I think I was talking about like the setting the income goals. So yeah, I'm not like that strict anymore. So my goals when I got started, I mean, it was just to keep it going, to build clientele, quality clientele. And I have my little affirmations journal where I would literally write like the type of client that I wanted, and I would attract like the right client and have people just want my service and not feel like I have to like convince people to like come and get a treatment from me. So I don't know, I just had very simple goals. Like my goals were just to keep it going. Do you recommend getting IV experience prior to your course, or it doesn't matter? I think it will be great if you can, like if you have a job where, or if you're currently at the bedside, like try to seek out every IV opportunity that you can get, because I mean, this service, you have to be top tier with your IV insertion skills. Like it's not, you don't want to be flimsy, you don't want to be missing veins, like you have to be top notch, like just on point with your IV skills. So if you can get IV experience, then definitely do it. I wouldn't say it's like needed prior to the course. I do teach IV insertion training after the class, so that's like an add-on class if you want to do that. All the classes are going to be like that. So like the actual business class is on Saturdays, and then Sundays Sunday morning we have like IV refresher. So if you feel like you just want to take that refresher, then go ahead and take that opportunity. But yeah, just try to get as much IV experience as you can. Somebody said 2 years went by fast. Congratulations, I love seeing your growth. Thank you. Okay guys, I'm going to answer a few more because I have to I have to start getting ready to head to the spa. I think I answered this one. Looking back, is there anything you do different? I think I answered that already, and I would say, yeah, like the staffing, and that was like the main thing. And just marketing. I mean, you can always do like different type of marketing things. Like just, now I know more about marketing, so. But I mean, of course, like there's things that you just can't do in the beginning. Like you have to be in the game for a little while to learn those things. So, okay, so I'm going to answer this last question because this is from somebody that just signed up for the New York class. So I'm going to answer your question, girl. And she said, do you ever feel overwhelmed being an entrepreneur and juggling so many hats? I would answer that yes. At times it does get a little overwhelming because it is a lot. You are juggling so many hats. Even if you have a team around you, like you're still in charge of that team, if that makes sense, right? Like, so say you have your manager and you have, like, you literally have everybody you need to have like a full-blown practice, and you're just like the owner, you're just sitting back. You're never really sitting back. Like you're always in charge of those people. Like you have to be sure that they're doing the quality of work that you want. Like you're responsible for your client satisfaction. Like everything kind of falls back on you because you're the owner. Like it's your name, it's your business. So it definitely can get overwhelming at times. But I mean, I think it's normal. So I know how to kind of navigate those feelings of being overwhelmed. Like at times you kind of just have to step back. There's times where you have to just step back and like see like, okay, what is in my control and what is not in my control. Like that's just kind of basic for life, right? Anytime you get overwhelmed, you have to take a step back and see like, where can you step in to actually fix the situation or whatever it is. So I kind of know how to work through those like overwhelming moments, which is very huge in entrepreneurship. And this is why I talk about mindset like all the time, because your brain is literally, you have to rewire it. Like you can't just get frustrated and want to quit every single moment. Like there's going to be so many overwhelming moments, and you just have to know how to like, you chose this, like you chose this life. And so you need to know how to work through it. So to answer that, definitely yes, but I know how to journal my way through. And at the end of the day, I'm grateful for this business, for my lifestyle, and everything that this business has provided for me. So I know at the end of the day, I'm just grateful, and it's just things that come with being a business owner. Like nothing is easy. Yeah, you can't expect for things to be smooth all the time, because that is not realistic. So yeah, to answer your question, girl, yes, it definitely gets overwhelming, but it's okay. This is why it's important to have friends that are in the business industry. Like my friends and I will like set up like, Zoom calls and just talk and debrief, and girl, let me tell you what happened, this client, and it's like people can relate to your frustrations. So it's very important to have friends and people that you can count on for support. Okay, you guys, so that is going to be it for this 2-year business recap. I literally answered a lot of the questions that were asked. I'm like kind of going through to see, but I think I answered a lot of them. A lot of you guys had like similar questions, so I tried to hit the questions that I saw most frequently in the Q&A. So thank you guys so much for submitting questions. I hope that this was helpful and gave you some motivation and like inspiration, or at least a little sense of guidance. for how your first 2 years in business may or may not go. That was just kind of my personal journey. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody sending congratulations for my new storefront. I'm very excited to show you guys the journey. So stay tuned for the construction vlogs, and definitely follow me on Instagram because I'll be showing stories, and I want to do like little before and after like reels and things like that. So follow me over there, and just yeah, I'm excited. I have so many I don't know, I have like so many ideas floating through my head. I can't wait to like see it come to life, because right now it's like very empty. There's a lot of work to do, guys, so there's a lot of work to do this next month. So that is it for this video. I will leave the link down below to the Miami class. If you guys are interested in that class, like I said, New York is already sold out. So if you want to take a class this year, then Miami is your only option for 2022. So I'll leave that link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!